Hey all, it's Nim or Nimicry if you're feeling professional, and welcome to the YouTube video. Now today we're going to be talking about the Dark Knight in Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. And honestly, this is a class I've never picked up, but I'm kind of interested in. Not necessarily for the edginess, but it does seem to be a cool thing, and I have some friends who play tanks, and they're like, you should try out Dark Knight. A lot of fun. Again, as you guys know, I tend to play the Paladin, so let's see what happens here. Of course, before we get started, if you like what I do, go on and click the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with everything the channel does. Keep in mind I do MMORPG content and generally some indie stuff as we go. Additionally, there will be a list of names scrolling on the screen right now. Those are my patrons, those kind and wonderful supporting people. If you'd like to join their ranks, you can go to patreon.com/Nimicry. Now, on to the Dark Knight. So, the Dark Knight, seen here, looking pretty cool, is a really weird case. Over in the healer role, Scholar feels like a job with the least changes. Here in the tanks, that's the Dark Knight. Now, while some potencies have changed slightly, Flow of Shadow and Edge of Shadow both took a hit, the timers and the effects are mostly the same. Well, this is good. So that means that if you're recording this article from Fanbyte, detailing the changes for Final Fantasy XIV Endwalkers, if you like consistency, Dark Knight might be the way to go. These changes are pre-level 80, include a shift to Delirium, which changes from a flat buff for 10 seconds to an instant cast ability that gives you just 3 stacks of Delirium. Each stack allows the execution of Quietus or Blood Spiller without cost. The new tooltip doesn't say that. That's how the ability works in live game. Restoring MP when landing either weapon skill. 3 attacks are notably less than what is currently possible to comfortably cast during 1 Delirium, making this somewhat of a nerf. However, the duration is now 30 seconds, giving you more breathing room to work with. Now, I noticed that with Requisite, instead of being like, because it's currently a 12-second cast, you get 5, try to get 5 casts off, which is your Holy Spirit, Holy Spirit, Holy Spirit, Holy Spirit, and then Confiteor, or replace Holy Spirit with Holy Circle. And that gave me just 5 charges over 30 seconds. So something there, I like the flexibility, because that makes your cooldown usage much less punishing. But it does also lower the damage ceiling, especially with skilled players, so it's balancing. With a few tweaks and changes to talk about, let's move on to the new stuff. At level 82, Dark Knights gain a brand new mitigation button, Ablation, which reduces damage taken by a party member or yourself by 10% for 10 seconds, and it comes with 2 charges. Now, that's interesting, because the Warrior, Gunbreaker, and Paladin, their charge is 15%, and each has their own abilities. The Gunbreaker gives you, of course, the Brutal Shell effect, if you have the Brutal Shell up when you give it to another party member, and Holy Sheltron, or I'm sorry, Intervention gives the person Knight's Resolve. So that's something, and I believe Knight's Benediction. Then at level 84, you get Enhanced Unmend trait, which reduces recast time of Plunge by 5 seconds when you execute Unmend. It's not the most exciting change, but ensures you always have a gap closer. This level also gives you the Melee Mastery trait, increasing the potency of Hard Slash, Siphon Strike, and Soul Eater. So it is confirmed all 4 tanks get Melee Mastery. That's good. There's no potency gap. Good design. No notes. That's pretty cool. New job actions. When the Dark Knight reaches level 86, you get the hilariously named Salt and Darkness. That's how Dark Knights feel when they see how few of the changes were made. This ability causes all enemies standing in Salted Earth to take additional unaspected damage with a potency of 500. That's a big boost in AoE damage to Salted Earth, to be fair. This can't be assigned to a hotbar, so it likely takes over Salted Earth's spot. Salted Earth now just drops at your feet rather than a targeted location, saving folks from programming that same damn macro literally every Dark Knight player, including Yoshida himself, uses. Now, I like that. So now you don't, instead of a targeting reticule, you just feet. Just drop it at the feet. That way, it can move with you. What would be really cool is if there was a way to get it to move with you. That would be cool, because then you could have some extra stuff. But I don't know if that's actually possible in this particular game. You'd have to create an ability or a trait to do that, and that would be pretty cool to have a couple of traits that work with one ability, but then that ability gets priority, and they're gonna be like, well, why isn't this ability stronger? You have 2 traits. You have 2 traits modifying it. So I understand a little bit. The last few additions all affect your Living Shadow. At level 88, the Enhanced Living Shadow trait increases the potency of your Shadow's attacks to 300. Yes, this probably means a small potency nerf for the base Living Shadow, as this is the normal potency in Shadowbringers. Finally, at level 90, there's Enhanced Living Shadow 2, which upgrades Flood of Shadow when executed by your Living Shadow to Shadowbringer. Hey, looks like you won there. Shadowbringer is the Dark Knight's level 90 action, dealing unexpected damage to all enemies in a straight line with a potency of 600 for the first enemy and 50% less for all remaining enemies. Now, that is significantly lower than the Gunbreaker's 1200. But it's a little higher than, I believe, the Paladin's 540, if I remember correctly. It has two charges and can only be executed while under the effect of Dark Side. The Living Shadows version of Shadowbringer is slightly weaker, but with less damage, fall off 450 potency and 25% less damage for remaining enemies. So, okay, 2 charges, that's not bad. You can have some fun with that. The team essentially has kept the Dark Knight mostly the same and added more damage onto the pile. Even the new ultimate ability is basically an extra flood of shadow you get to cast, sometimes with a bit more oomph. And they ask the question, cool? My answer is yeah, it's cool. Because, again, let's hypothesize some Dark Knight fans and players won't enjoy the changes, but here's the thing. That's okay. Not everybody's going to enjoy every change. And you like consistency? Looks like the Dark Knight's going to live up to what you want. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people like the class the way they play it. I know I played MMOs where I'm like, why did you change my class? It was comfortable, it was fun, and then you just basically were like, hey, look, class, I'm just going to throw it over here. And it's like, no, don't do that. I like my class. So let's look at the tooltips and see what we have here. So Oblation reduces damage taken by a party member herself by 10%. Duration 10 seconds. Maximum 2 charges. Okay, that's not bad. And it is a longer duration than some of the other ones, being 4 and 5 seconds on certain things. Enhanced Unmend reduces the recast time of Plunge by 5 seconds when executing Unmend. Makes sense. Melee Mastery, of course, increases the potency of Hard Slash to 210, Siphon Strike to 110, and Soul Eater to 110. Exactly similar to the Gunbreaker, Warrior, and Paladin. Perfect. No notes. Salt and Darkness. All enemies standing in the corrupted patch of Salted Earth take additional unaspected damage with a potency of 500. Nice. Nice. Now, I wonder if it's a solid tick or if it's an extra 500 over time, which could lead to, if you decide to move or you have to move, could lead to less damage. But overall, even if you get 1 tick and it's going to be extra 500 over the course of the ticking damage, it's still going to be a higher tick damage. So I'm happy with that. Enhanced Living Shadow increases the potency of attacks dealt by your that's a hard word to say. Simulacrum to 300. And then, of course, the Enhanced Living Shadow 2 at level 90 upgrades Flood of Shadow executed by your sim to Shadowbringer, which delivers an attack to all enemies in a straight line with a potency of 450 for the first enemy and 25% less for all remaining enemies. That's not bad. And Shadowbringer at level 90 deals unexpected damage to all enemies in a straight line before you with a potency of 600 for the first enemy and 50% less for all remaining enemies. Charges are 2 and can only be executed under the effect of Dark Side. Okay, so, for the Dark Knight seems to be in a pretty good place. Now, are people going to be upset that I didn't get anything really new? I mean, Shadowbringer is pretty cool. Also, you're named after the last expansion, so it's probably never going to suck. But what are you going to say there? Some people say, oh, it's not that great, I want more stuff. Like, oh, okay, whatever. Everybody always wants more. God knows I do. I want the Paladin to be a shining beacon of I'm going to destroy you. So I feel you. I feel you. So, will you be playing your Dark Knight in Endwalker? Will you be playing a different tank? Or maybe you're going to be like, I'm going to heal, I'm going to DPS. I'm going to take a look at that. That being said, guys, if you enjoyed this video or you like me, go on and click subscribe. And hit that notification bell to stay up to date with everything the channel does, because God knows YouTube isn't going to tell you when I release something most of the time. Also, I happen to stream on Twitch Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if that's something you like, you'll see that there. It's twitch.tv/Nimicry. You can follow me on Twitter to talk to me directly, and that's at Nimicry, so Nimicry. We have a link to my Discord down below if that's something you want to talk to. After all, I do answer everything that I can. And outside of that, thank you for watching this video. I work hard and I try to produce the best content I can, and I appreciate you watching it. I will see you in the next one. Bye.